All right, welcome back. We're going to look at vertical shifts. Okay, so vertical shifts, not too much, they're actually, I would say, even easier than horizontal shifts. So let's say you take, draw a plane, start out with my favorite function. Sorry about that, my favorite function. Lopsided, but oh well, y equals x squared. Okay, now let's say instead we're going to take y equals x squared plus 1. Okay, it's not going to be too much different actually. All that's going to happen now, okay, is that it's going to be moved up by 1. All right, so our vertical shift is going to follow the following pattern. Let's take a bigger than 0 again. Okay. F of x plus a, that moves up by a. All right. If we take f of x to f of x minus a, that's going to move my graph down by a. All right. So that's on its own, it's not really super interesting, but we can combine it with the horizontal shift that we had in the previous page, okay, to get something a little more interesting. Okay, so let's take, for example, let's graph y equals the square root of x minus 3 plus 2. Okay, takes a second, sorry for the delay. So, give myself a coordinate axes. Now, what's going to happen? The minus 3, remember, that's going to move my square root function to the right by 2. And, I'm sorry, by 3. And the plus 2 is going to move everything up 2. Okay? All I have to remember is if I'm having trouble with the horizontal shift, just remember x minus 3 needs to be bigger than or equal to 0. So x needs to be bigger than or equal to 3. I go there, and then I just draw the square root function. Okay? MyLabs Plus actually has that tool where you will just click on the square root function, and then it'll ask you how to shift it. Okay? Take a look at another. Let's graph. Let's take y equals x minus 3 squared plus 1. Okay? You know what, let's change that. Let's take that to be x plus 4 squared plus 1. Just to make things interesting. Okay, so now we're going to be moving left 4 and up 1. Okay, left 4 because of the plus. So that's, remember, going to move to, let me make that a little clearer. Let me just rewrite that. Okay. So remember, that's whatever makes the x plus 4 0. One thing to keep in mind, you have to always sort of keep in mind what is your base function. Okay. So here we know our base function is y equals x squared. Okay. Gone left 4 and up 1. Okay. So now, one thing that I like to do, especially with the quadratics, especially because that when you graph them, when you graph parabolas in MyLabs Plus, they'll often ask you to give a couple more points, is I'm going to give 2 more points. We know -4, 1 is on the graph. But I'm going to actually find 2 more points on the graph. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick 2 more points that are easy to find. And so what I do is I take values that are 1 to the left and 1 to the right of my vertex. So I'm going to pick x equals -3, x equals -5. Okay. In both cases, I'm actually going to get the same y value back. Because if I have -5 here, I'm going to have 1. And when I square 1, I get 1 plus 1 equals 2. Same thing's going to happen. If I have x equals -3, that's going to be -1. When I square -1, that's going to give me 1. So both of these give me y equaling 2. Okay, so the points -3, 2, -5, 2 are on this graph. And that gives me enough to graph the parabola with MyLabs Plus. Okay. All right. All right, I think that's it for this. I'll see you guys in the next video.